Let's talk about learning how to control your mindset. Hi there, I'm Marc Scott. Thanks for checking out another voiceover tip. If you never want to miss one of these tips again, you know what you have to do. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel so you will always get notified whenever a new tip gets posted. Plus, you're also going to be able to get notified when I go live for Free Advice Friday. Join me for live broadcasts on Friday afternoons where I answer all of your voiceover questions for free, and you'll get notified every time one of those is coming up. Well, speaking of Free Advice Friday, that's actually what has inspired this video and the next several videos that are going to come. I want to talk about mindset. And why? Well, on a recent Free Advice Friday broadcast, I was asked by somebody, what's the most important piece of advice that you were ever given? And while I couldn't narrow it down to one Pinterest-worthy quote, per se, what I did say was the most important thing that I have ever learned in my business, which was taught to me, was the importance of mindset, the importance of controlling our narratives, the importance of learning how to control our thoughts, because we have a negativity bias built in naturally from caveman days. This is the way our brains work. We are programmed to a negativity bias because back in the day of cavemans, that negativity bias is what kept us alive. We were always on the lookout for danger. We were always looking for things that were going to kill us, that were going to hurt us, and so we were always prepared for the worst, and that's part of what helped to keep man alive. That programming hasn't gone away, which means that our default programming, our default mindset is a negativity bias. So what does that mean? It means we're always going to be able to find the worst in every situation. It always means that we're going to default to the worst possible outcome, to the most negative scenario. And that doesn't always serve us in our life and business. And so when you learn how to control your mindset, when you learn how to control your narratives, it really truly can change the trajectory of your life and your business. And this is something that I know because it's something I've experienced in my own life. I was just like everybody else where I could find negatives in every positive. I could find the negative in every single situation that came at me, no matter what the situation was, no matter how good the situation might be. I was always on the lookout for something negative, and my mindset always lended itself towards that. But about 10 years ago, somebody came into my life who helped me to figure out that this is what I was doing, and that was never their intention. It's just that that's what happened. And when I figured it out, then I was able to start to work to change it, because now I recognize this pattern, this negative thought pattern, this negative mindset that was not serving me, that was not helping me in my life or in my business. A big part of what I do in my voiceover coaching with voice actors every single day is helping them with narratives. Now, obviously, talent come to me because they're looking for business and marketing advice, and that's certainly a big part of what we talk about in our sessions, but almost every session ends up coming back in some way to mindset, to story, to narrative, to the things that we tell ourselves, to the beliefs that we hold on to. Some of those beliefs may be very conscious, and some of those beliefs may be very subconscious. So what I want to do over the next few videos is talk about some different aspects of mindset that I have come to understand better over the years, and all of these things are the things that have helped me to be able to succeed in my business, to grow my business, and not just in my business. They've had a profound impact on my life in general as well. So the first one that I want to talk to you about this week is the fact that our thoughts are like boomerangs. So whatever the thought is that we throw out there, that is what is going to come back to us. Let me give you an example of this from a voiceover standpoint. Let's say you have a membership to an online casting site, and maybe you get up every morning and you go and you submit your auditions, and you've been submitting your auditions for a while. Maybe it's been a month, maybe it's been 2 months, maybe it's been 3 months of submitting your auditions on a regular basis, and you're just not seeing the results. And the longer that goes on, the thought that starts to take place in your mind is, I don't ever book on casting sites. Maybe you don't say it out loud at first, but it's there in the back of your head. And it starts to feel like a waste of time, and it starts to feel discouraging. And before long, every day when you're going into the booth to record those auditions on the casting site, whether you realize it or not, you're self-defeating. Because even when you walk into the booth, you've already got this mindset like, this is a waste of time. Like, I'm never going to book this job. I never book on casting sites. I don't know what the problem is. I never book on casting sites, though. I submit all these auditions. Nothing ever happens. I don't get any likes. Nobody's interested in my stuff. And all of these thoughts just start spiraling in your head. And before long, that's the mindset that you've taken into the booth. Now, let me ask you a question. If you're walking into the booth to record an audition already convinced that you're going to fail before you even start, do you think you're going to succeed? Of course not. Your thoughts are like boomerangs. What you throw out there is what comes back to you. The more that you talk yourself down when you're approaching a casting site audition, the more that negativity is what is going to bounce back to you. Now, I could give you 100 different examples of how this works. I could say the same thing about your marketing emails. Are you sending your marketing emails, or maybe you did send marketing emails for a while, but you weren't getting as many responses as you wanted, or you just didn't see as many bookings as you thought you should get. And before long, you start to think, this is pointless. Marketing is a waste of time. Email marketing doesn't work for me. I don't know what to put in a good email. Nobody ever seems to open my emails. My emails are never getting responded to. I'm sending out all these emails and it's not turning into any work. And all of these thoughts start popping into your head as you're approaching your email marketing every day. And after a while, what happens? Are you motivated to do email marketing anymore? Are you going into that part of your business with the right mindset and the right narrative? Or is all of the negativity that you're holding on to surrounding email marketing just bringing back exactly what you're putting out? Your thoughts are like boomerangs. The thoughts that you throw out there, that is what is going to come back to you. And this is rule number one, lesson number one of why it is so important to learn how to control your mindset, to learn how to control your narratives, to understand how much of an impact the things that we think ultimately have on our business. And I just want to say this in closing. For anybody that's not familiar with this, it's going to sound like a lot of New Age voodoo. And can I be honest with you? That's exactly what I thought the first time that I started learning about all of this stuff. It sounds like a bunch of ridiculous New Age voodoo. But as I began to practice it, as I began to pay closer attention to the thoughts, as I began to pay closer attention to the things that I was saying, to the words that I was using, to the stories that I was telling myself, I started to recognize change happening in my life. And I started to realize there is something to this. That's why I teach it. That's why I think it's so important. That's why I think that just as much as your coaching and the quality of your demos and how good your website is and all of those other aspects of your voiceover business, learning how to control your mindset can be a difference maker between success and failure. I'm going to be talking more about mindset and sharing different little things that I've learned over the next few weeks in these YouTube videos. And so I hope you'll keep coming back, and I hope you'll keep watching, and I hope that they encourage you and inspire you as well. This is something that even 10 years later, even as I've recognized it, I still have to be intentional about practicing it every single day. It never just goes away. Remember, negativity bias. This is how our brains are programmed by default. And the idea of reprogramming your brain, it's possible. I've done it, but I don't know that it's something that ever ends. But once you recognize some of those patterns in your life, those thought patterns that aren't serving you, it becomes so much easier to change them around and tell stories that do serve you. I hope you're inspired by this, and I hope you'll come back for another one of these tips next week. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. That way you're going to get notified when a new tip comes. And if you've got some thoughts on this one, an example of where your thoughts have been boomerangs, I'd love to hear about it. Post it in the comments down there, and let's get a dialogue going.